Of the day, Ditchburn lining up for Carlton down at Geelong. Not only does he miss, he puts it out of bounds on the full.
It's out of bounds. That is unbelievable. That is unforgivable too. I cannot believe you can kick a ball from out of bounds from 2 metres out.
Can't believe it. However, Bazzasto shows them how to do it. Long left foot snap. And it'll bounce and bounce true.
Corner, but Bazzasto's there.
Bazzasto now, hand pass to Hunter.
Finds Hunter. He shoots it
hand pass to Glascott.
Glascott now, 45 metres out.
Long goal.
It around. It's another great goal kicked by Carlton.
Carlton going again as Sheldon takes the ball. He'll hand pass it to Johnson. Bit loose, but Johnson recovers it well. Has a long shot for goal, and it's through.
Their hearts, Geelong didn't think they could win this game, but they came out in the first half and played some very solid and vigorous football and tried to knock Carlton off their game, which they did to a certain extent. They had a fair amount of success with it, with Carlton only kicking 3 goals, 7 up until half-time. But then, as the old adage, you can't keep good men down for too long, and the Carlton side, led by Hunter, Marcosani, Johnson, Buckley and Corcomelis, taking the ball out of the centre, started to really get on top and ended up beating Geelong quite easily in the end, very effortlessly. In fact, the fire and the sting went out of Geelong's side. And if it hadn't been for just a couple of players, Featherby amassed a lot of kicks. There's Michael Turner, ended up kicking 4 goals and played quite a good game for Geelong, as did Whitcomb there, one of the running players for Geelong that they seem to need. And this pattern of play that people keep saying Geelong should play is kick it down the centre and direct. Well, that's okay if you've got the key forwards and the key position players to be able to capitalise on that type of play. Geelong just simply do not have the players. They're undermanned, and that is the sad story about Geelong. We were led into a false sense of security by the Geelong side, winning the first 6 out of the 7 games. And at the business end of the year, they are found lacking. And I suppose with about 6 or 7 players leaving the club next year, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. Now, there's Wayne Harms, who was solid in defence, and one of the is also the running players, Glascott and Mark. And there's Mark Buckley. Is not a bad proposition at centre-half forward, Mark Buckley. He's a nice left-footed kick, and he's always in there competing. Mike Fitzpatrick and Justin Madden on the forward line seem to be a little top-heavy as far as I'm concerned, and not Mark Hunter, it's the singer, Ken Hunter, when he went down to the forward line, seemed to give something for them to kick at.
What did you think of the Carlton lineup, Pete?
Well, the big change, I think, Ron came in just after half-time when Johnston, who had 2 kicks, I think, in the first half, came into the game, and Corcomelis, those 2 players started to get the ball out of the centre. You see Johnston there doing a lot of the heavy work. The little blokes, Marcoux, and of course Sheldon and Ashman came right back into the game. But I think a big change was putting Hunter to full forward. They did have Justin Madden and Big Fitzpatrick resting up there at full forward. There's a young Burke. Now Burke, Sam, showed a bit of promise when he went into the ruck when Mossop went off the ground the second quarter.
He did indeed. He competed well against Fitzpatrick, and the thing about Burke was that he had an arm wrestle with Fitzpatrick while the ball was up the other end of the ground, and when he got down to the forward line when he should have been next to Fitzpatrick, he left him 30 yards away. He just had his priorities in the wrong order.
Your votes for yesterday's game?
Well, the votes, Ron, I thought 1 vote was deserved by Rod Ashman. Ashman, nippy as ever round the packs, and a tremendous contributor always for the Carlton side. I gave 2 votes to Peter Featherby. He was probably Geelong's best player, with a couple of others produced pretty good all-round games, but Featherby was all over the ground, took some big marks, kicked a couple of good goals. 3 votes to Val Perovic. That's the best game I've seen Val play in a long time at centre-half back. He controlled that position for Carlton, and when they weren't going so well in the first half, he was easily their best player.
OK, thanks for those comments. Bob Davis, tell us about Fitzroy.